Due to an unforeseen audio malfunction, we do have to apologize for the quality of audio in this episode.
Hey guys, welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with Justin and Brandy. Today we're joined by our special guest, broker owner Conrad Zurini from RE/MAX Escarpment. Conrad, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
We're at Escarpment and Niagara now.
Yeah, that's right. That's in there, yeah.
That was it. We're hoping to talk to Conrad today just about the market, everything that's going on, because, I mean, we do like 70% of the transactions in RAHB. So I feel like you have a really good behind-the-scene view of what's going on because you see a lot of the...
Yeah, we're like a microcosm of the area, right?
Yeah.
So we can really dig deep into data and things like that, and it really means something. So like our appointments, we're on par with last February, which was a record-breaking February in 2021. So we're really proud of that. And a lot of demand still out there, and we're seeing some good traction still happening. I think February was a record-breaking month for us in appointments and in sales. So from that January, we're off a little bit, and then February just rebounded really nicely.
Even just from the appointment aspect of it, to think that we're down in actual inventory, but the appointments have stayed the same. I mean, that's definitely got to be resulting in a lot of these bidding wars and the price increases that we've been seeing.
Yeah, and a number that we look at a lot is like, so we have a stat that is the amount of appointments to sales. So in January, we were probably around 34, 35, something like that. Now we're down to about 17. That means there's been more inventory. Buyers have been able to find things in February. So that whole demand, a little bit of that demand was taken away, and a lot of buyers got into the market in February. So we saw some really good things for buyers and really good opportunities.
Yeah. And I mean, things are changed so fast. Like now, I think the big topic that everybody's talking about right now is the interest rates.
Absolutely.
Right? Quarter point.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, I thought they're really looking at inflation piece a lot. There's no question. I thought they were probably going to jump up half a point, 50 basis points. But I think for sure the next one, because inflation is over 5%, they want to really beat that down.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see where all that money on the sidelines goes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money in people's bank accounts right now. But I will say this, this small interest rate, I don't think it's going to have that much dramatic effect on the market at all. There's still high demand. I think gas prices probably have maybe you're seeing the outskirts. Well, I think maybe people thinking that they were going to go in the outskirts, outside, cities or what have you with lower walk scores. I think maybe those people would feel it more than anything. So, and we're seeing it like your Grimsby. It's Grimsby, Ancaster, Dundas. We're off sales probably 30%, unit sales.
Wow.
Something in that vicinity. So maybe that's what's happening. Now, mind you, they did increase a lot during the pandemic. So that's probably part of it too. They're in the 1.2 million territory.
I think it's also like a lot of it's the psychological effect of what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. People just the anticipation of they don't want to over leverage themselves. So we're kind of seeing that happen.
Yeah. And there's twofold, because you could get people jumping into the market saying, I want to get it before anything happens with these interest rates and stuff like that. But normally when there's a big interest rate, like fervor, which is now, because we haven't seen anything happen with interest rates since 2018.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen anything. So people don't really know an interest rate jump.
It's true.
Now, they usually say 11% kind of get out of the market. They say, hey, so 1 out of 10 buyers is going to say, I'm going to sit out on the sidelines for a little bit. But what's interesting is after 24 months, we get another 14% coming on in. Mm-hmm. So it really balances itself out. But we might see 1 in 10 buyers kind of pull out just to see what's going on. But I have news for everybody. I don't see a price decrease at all.
No.
It's been rapid the last little while. So I don't know. People are talking a leveling off. I don't believe it'll be a leveling off. I don't think we're going to see as many offers as we did in the past. Mm-hmm. And the value conscious consumer at the one end, I think at the entry level, you'll still see good competition. Maybe it'll offset the upper end. Maybe we won't see as much, a little bit of flattening on the upper end. But we just talked about a sale in Ancaster went 700,000 over list. So I don't know. That was crazy. A mid to upper level. Wouldn't you say?
I lost out on that one by 550,000.
So there you go. You were there. No, good try. It was a good try.
We helped them get the 2 million.
Yeah. But you know what? Brandon, you were saying it before. What were you saying to me before about people want, right? You were saying if people want it, They're going to do it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Exactly. They're going to pay for it. But there's also, what was the immigration number that you were telling me?
Yeah, so I saw that now we've opened the passport to Ukrainians. There's no limit on it. The amount of Ukrainian immigrants that can come in, that can work, that can live here. And that's going to be on top of, I think it was like 300,000 new immigrants that were going to come to Canada.
It's over 400
this year. It's over 410.
Yeah.
410.
So, I mean, you have that. Now you have this added level of the Ukrainian immigrants that are coming in. I think it's just, shortage of homes. So even the study that was saying we need the 1.5 million homes in 10 years, I feel like that's like we're going to need more.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be that. So
crazy.
maybe we'll be lucky and there'll be the dialogue again in Hamilton, because Hamilton and Halton both froze their expansion. So maybe they're going to rethink that in the next little while. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of pressure. Rents are going up. The rental market's pretty high. So,
and that was something that I know I was thinking of too, is like a lot of times these duplexes and triplexes, multi-units are starting to get really expensive. It's almost to the point on the Hamilton Mountain for a 2-unit, you're paying $1.2 million around that. But the rents are basically breaking even at that point. So how much longer I don't know. I think the rents have to keep going up. And if the rents don't keep going up in the duplexes, like these 2 units on the mountain are going to start to stabilize. Like they're going to have to hit a peak. But I guess they are still going up. So it's all.
Well, it depends on the investor, right? Some people are more into the capital growth, and some people are more into that. What's my return? Cash flow, return on my investment. So, we could just flip into capital growth mode and see very low cap rates, which will be interesting to see how that all pans out. But it's happened in other countries. Germany, it's like that. They almost have zero cap rates in Germany and some other European countries. So it'll be interesting how that pans out and how it takes it. But again, it's pure supply and demand again.
And I want to go back to what you said, like back in 2018, I remember back when we were selling then that the rates went up and things did slow down. There was a period that prices didn't drop though. They just slowed a little bit. And then within maybe 2-3 months, it started to pick up a bit. But then we just started flying after a certain point. Because I think it's initial people start to have that conversation of, the rate's gone up. Let's see what happens to the market. Maybe we'll wait to buy.
Yeah.
But then when they realize nothing happens, like you said, then they jump back in.
Yeah. And with a vengeance and more people jump back in. But yeah, there's all that wait and see and, oh my God, things are going to stabilize. Well, there was a wait and see when the beginning of the pandemic, right? Sales dropped by about 60%. And then when things started to creep up again, then it just grew like crazy.
I remember.
April, it was 60 points. No, we dropped by 60% in April.
I felt it. I remember the pandemic hit and I started thinking, I'm like, should I start thinking about another job? I'm like, what's going to happen? Are we ever going to sell houses again? This is everything shut down. Who would have thought that was going to happen? But then, I mean, look what happened afterwards. It's like it was just pent up. Boom. And everybody started buying.
Well, people want to control in their lives. And what can you control more than your own domain, your own home, right?
100%.
You can control that, right? So,
but they are still talking about more phases to the interest hike. Like, it's short right now, but there's no said stoppage in place for how they're going to keep increasing them.
No, I think they're going to keep a really good eye on the inflation. They want to get down to 2%. We're at over 5%, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, the last time we saw something like this was 1991 when we had inflation like this, and they brought up rates to kind of cool it. But again, you got to remember, there's a lot of cash, and the difference today is how many trillions of dollars are all over the world in people's bank accounts. It's not in everybody's bank account, unfortunately, but there's a lot of people that did extremely well during the pandemic, and they're sitting on a lot of cash. So it's going to be, where's it going to go?
Yeah.
Is it going to go into travel? Is it going to go domestically? Like where is it going to go? And renovations have already been kind of growing, but then we got supply chain issues. So maybe people get frustrated and not renovate and things like that. So it just got to follow the money and follow when people go back to their offices.
100%.
That's the other big factor. Is it going to be this hybrid, 3 days a week thing and stuff like that? Or is everybody going to flock back to Toronto again? Gas prices. There's a lot of factors going on right now.
Yeah, the gas price is a huge one, especially if you got all these people that are commuting. I know it's going to affect it. And we had such an exodus from Toronto to Hamilton.
Yeah.
So are we ever going to see that point where we're just going to have so much inventory because people want to move back? I don't know. Do you ever think it would get to that point or you think they'll just deal with it?
Well, it's funny. I think that, you're starting to see that employers wanted people back.
Yeah.
They did. There was a time when I would say last fall, they were like, okay, come back. Then we had that little setback with the variant there. And then everybody said, okay, we got to do something. So I think you're going to see maybe a smaller footprint in downtown Toronto and scattered hubs around the province. That's what I think.
You think so?
I think believe it or not, office is really tough to find right now. Industrial has performed so well. I think there's a 1.6% vacancy rate in industrial. So industrial picked up a lot of the slack. Maybe it is a lot of maybe it's not just manufacturing, it's warehousing and things like that. But it's been like really snapped up quite largely. Most of that industrial is outside. People want to live by it, so they're, it's outside. It's your Mississaugas, your Ancasters, Stony Creek, and things like that. So it'd be interesting to see how that all pans out. But I don't think you're going to see people going back to Toronto in droves. It's going to be an interesting situation there.
Yes, I actually I was showing a house last night out past Hagersville. It's like a little half-acre country property, and the sellers were there, and I was just chatting them up, and they said within 2 days they've already had 17 showings, and all the buyers are coming from Toronto, and the house was still going to go over 600,000. So, and there's nothing. It's just on well. They're out from any town. Yeah. So people are still out there hunting for property.
Well, again, that's value. That's a price point. But in the U.S., we're starting to see REITs buying up malls and plazas. And we're seeing a little bit of here in Canada too as well. So they're going to do these kind of like what I've been calling suburban urban. Yeah. So they're going to create these kind of like urban centers and suburban malls. So you're going to see that happening. Eastgate Square, not far from here, just got sold. There's some high density that's going to be put on that site because of the GO station. So you'll see a lot of this repurposing of commercial.
That spot needs to be repurposed.
It does. You're right. Well, you're going to see a combination of work, play, and living kind of thing. So all combined. So it's going to put pressure on those traditional downtowns, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because of where everybody's we're all here, right?
Well, Stony Creek is becoming this I think it's the next Ancaster. I think it's better than Ancaster, honestly.
I'm biased.
No?
I own 2 properties in Stony Creek. I'm on the Stony Creek Mountain, though. Lower Stony Creek, I still feel like...
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
I love it. You know what? It's a commuter thing, though.
Yeah.
Well, Ancaster's, if that hill is not good...
You have the hill.
You have the hill. That's an issue. GO station in Aldershot. But, I don't know, Stony Creek's interesting.
It's going to be huge, especially with the GO station coming out that way. And it's not going towards Ancaster. Like that hill is it's a debacle in the morning. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So, but I mean, some interesting thing to talk about. Like, I want to talk about some of the stats in the areas. I know we were talking about these increases, and we were trying to figure out. We'd seen a lot of the actual unit sales decrease, and I think you found the reason why.
Yeah, I think once you get over, especially if it's substantially increased, any area that increased by about 38 or the top end, 38 or 40% over the last year is now finally probably seeing that little bit of a ceiling where people are, we've had enough. We're done.
And what were those areas again? That was Dundas.
So we've got, you've got your Dundas, Ancaster, and Grimsby. Huge, Grimsby got 38% increase. Yeah. And they're down 27% in sales. And Ancaster had a 32% increase, and they're down 20%. And Dundas 27%, and they're down about 16%. So interesting there. But you know what's funny? The conundrum here is Binbrook probably, which is really kind of which is interesting because Binbrook did go up significantly, but there's still a lot of sales going on there. So that's kind of
Binbrook has all those developments, right?
Yep.
Like the Losani.
Yep, and it's got a nice Binbrook's got a nice tenure. You've got your detached, you got your towns, that type of thing. Where if you look at Grimsby, it's a lot of town heavy. So there's only so much super town heavy, right? So there's a certain point where how do I justify spending like $1.2 million on a townhouse, right?
That's true. So you think there's something going on with buyers where they're saying, okay, this is max we want to pay there?
Well, if I'm going to come out here from Toronto or Mississauga or Peel, I'm going to want a detached home. That's my dream, right?
Yeah. For sure. That's why I'm leaving the city.
Well, exactly. So I don't want to, take like for like.
Yeah, I actually have clients that they're stopped at 1.6. They said, I don't want to pay that anymore. So now I'm just kind of waiting it out.
So I think the market's with a lot of different types of product. Hamilton Mountain, for instance, there's tons of product and it's still chugging nicely. Hamilton East is still doing very, very well. I've always felt Hamilton East was undervalued compared to the whole area for some reason.
Even that, it's Dave Capretta on our team loves that area.
Oh, yeah.
He always calls Rosedale the Ancaster
I
of
love
Hamilton
Rosedale.
East.
Well, Rosedale's amazing. When I first started my career, I looked at the turnover in all the areas, and Rosedale had a big turnover.
Yeah.
And then it went flat for about 20 years. And
It's
now
right on the
come
highway
back.
too, right?
Yeah. So no,
My
I like,
brother-in-law lives there. He loves it.
and they're great homes, solid.
Yeah, they're all those little
Right.
houses.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it is like we're getting up there now. The stats came out from February. The average home price in Hamilton was 1.1 million. So that went up 4.2% from the month before. So we were up what 10% from January to February now for it. So we're up what 15% almost already into the year.
Yeah.
Like 14%. But the one thing that stayed low, like a detached home is 1.3 million on average in Hamilton, but the average sale of a condo is 606. Do you think we're going to see a jump in condo prices?
Yeah,
Because,
Toronto,
we're almost twice as much for a detached than it is a condo.
Well, it's interesting, but because Toronto's at condos in Toronto at entry level, the soon to be entry level here, because you could get a detached for the same money as a condo.
Yeah.
So we're going to see, that it's definitely going to move. There's
Yeah.
no question. But you know what's an interesting market too is Hamilton West. Now that we're coming out of COVID a little bit, I think people are now like their sales are up like significantly, over 30%. Hamilton West. So now I think again that's university driven. So I think now we're coming back.
Yeah.
Investors are probably coming back to
COVID's over. People are going back to the area.
We need student rentals, so that kind of thing. So you're going to see that market really jumped in the last little while.
Perfect. I have a listing presentation there tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
There you
the
go.
market's good.
Yeah. And then the inventory is still 0.6 months. So it's still pretty fast. But I think at the start of the year, we were what? We were like 0.4. 0.4. Yeah.
Yeah, we're barely 10 days supply.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's coming. Yeah, we're seeing an appointment in our appointment center report. Before it was like 80, 90 listings and 150, 160 sales. Now it's 220 listings, 240 sales.
Mm-hmm.
So it's coming. It's more
moving.
balanced. Well, I think, you know what? We should hit a month supply, which would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great opportunity for first timers to come back into the market. But again, like you were saying before, I think it's that value conscious consumer
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
that is looking for that better value, right? They're pound for pound. They're looking at, per square foot. Like, and again, Toronto buyers look per square foot.
That's not a Hamilton thing.
No, it's not.
I think that's what our discrepancy in the condos, because when you leave that Toronto city, in Toronto, you're expecting to live in a condo. You want to be downtown, you want to be in that lifestyle, you go in a condo. But when you come here, you're looking to grow, to have more space, to not be on top of each other.
And I think that's what they really looked at. Because I used to live in Toronto, and everything was per square foot. Like that system, their MLS systems has had square footage for like 25 years, for as long as I can remember. It's a range, but it always has square footage.
Yeah.
Right? Where we just kind of adopted square footage probably over the last 5-6 years really heavily. I think a lot of consumers from that end are looking at, wow, what per square foot is there and what per square foot is here. And I think that's really where we got that real big push.
Mm-hmm.
And then where you really see the differences in square foot is when you start comparing condos. Like a lot of the new development condos that are coming out in Hamilton around that 1,000 to some of the Television City ones were like 1,020 a foot when you start including parking in it, to where you can buy a resale for like 600 a foot, and the building's only like 4 or 5 years older. And I know the condo fees have things to do with that too, but still, I mean, I think there's an opportunity in condos right now. And I think just for experience from what we've seen, if I was looking to buy, I was looking to buy another investment property, and I was thinking, should I wait? And I'm thinking, okay, this rate went up once. I feel like this is the window to buy right now in this next little bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're going to see some little sensitivity. We can negotiate. But you said something really cool. If it's a 2018 condo, if it was built in November 2018, there's no rent control on it.
That's right.
So those are solid investments, because as everything as all boats rise, you can rise along with it. It's just those older buildings that are rent controlled. So really, you can actually raise the rent to an existing tenant as long as the lease is up. You can raise the rent whatever the market is. If it's November 2018, you can't. So that's a great little investment vehicle right now, because you're saying the spread between a 4 or 5 year old condo is, or let's say 4 years rather, is significant. 400 square feet, $400 square foot different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good value, and you'll cover, right?
Yeah, because the one plus down in Television Cities were with parking was like $785. Zaya just sold one in the Robinson building there, 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It was like 900 square feet or something for $730 or $720, something like that.
Yeah, see,
it's huge. Like the difference, you're just getting way more square feet. You're getting 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 parking spots, and you're coming in cheaper.
2 parking spots.
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah. I think one of the topics I think you guys should discuss one is the taxes on new builds and what are the taxes for Hamiltonians going to be.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like, I think that's really something. Maybe you get somebody from the city or somebody that knows that whole piece, because that's going to be a very interesting thing. Are they going to change the mill rate?
That's a good one.
Assessments went up like 30 some odd %. Like the city's giving themselves a raise. It's a real, they're quiet about it. And the other thing is new build right now, like a townhouse back, let's say 5 years ago, the HST was around 32,000. Today it's like 106,000. Just the HST.
Yeah.
And then add the development charges. You're talking a townhouse unit could be $250,000 just in taxes.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Crazy.
Which is wild, right?
Yeah.
When you think of land transfer, development charges, all that kind of stuff.
All the little things you don't think about.
Yeah. So what are governments doing about affordability when it comes to that? That's really where there's,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Hamilton already has like the highest property taxes.
Yep.
In Ontario? Is it all of Ontario or what?
I don't know.
It's up there though.
It's there, yeah.
Like when we're looking at properties in Burlington and stuff, we start going towards Toronto. I can't believe the difference.
Well, just right when these assessments come in, right? So.
And then we're driving on these roads. It makes it hard to believe that we have the highest taxes. The conditions of these roads right now.
I don't know if I read correctly, but I think it's at 17,000 potholes or something like that. We're already repaired or something.
Don't touch King Street and
Oh, you destroy your car.
I've destroyed my car.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time I ever met Justin, I destroyed my car and he didn't believe me.
She was on her way to the office and she's like, "Oh, I can't make the appointment. I blew a tire over. She hit a pothole." I was like, "Yeah." She sent a picture. Like, "Oh, I'm going to say that. That's a good excuse down the road. Somebody else." Yeah.
But
still made it.
Good.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think we're running out of time. Conrad, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I always love your insight on the market. It's awesome. So guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell. That way you get notifications when a new episode pops up. Also, don't forget, we're on Spotify and we're on Apple Podcasts. So in case you want to listen to us in the car while you're driving, we'd love it. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you again next week.
See you later.
Thanks for having me.